Good evening, Simon here, Explosive Action. I am back with the very overdue black metal update. Have an absolute mountain of CDs and LPs to get through, so let's get into it. In the background, we are listening to US black metal band Zenitaph. This is their album Media Morte in Vita Sumus. Probably got that wrong, but hey, Latin. Didn't learn it, dead language. This came out in 2017. Really tasty, riffy US black metal. Sounds like, you know, a few other bands. Kind of reminds me a little bit of sort of earlier Nazul at times. But really it's got a US flavour, so really nice stuff. Came out on Transylvanian tapes, or Transylvanian recordings as they're now known. There's the band. Yep, just a really solid two-piece US black metal. Good stuff. The first one, well really first three, I'm only going to talk about very quickly because I've not had that much time with the new one. One spin so far only. So I'm just going to really show it and highlight that it exists if for some reason you've missed it. That is the new one from Negative Plane, The Pact. It's been 11 years. 11 years since their previous album, their previous full length. And it's definitely been well worth the wait. After this first listen, I can already confirm that. If you've not heard of this band before, they play a really unique form of black metal that's kind of rooted in mortuary drape, a bit of Master's Hammer, that kind of thing. But you know, it's really progressive, lots of weirdness. The best current parallel is a band like Funereal Presence. There's a lot of similarities in that sound, but I think Negative Plane are even more kind of oddball. And it's a really refreshing listen. In a sea of black metal, Negative Plane really do stand out. So yeah, it's a really good album so far, just the one listen. So what I'm going to suggest you do is check a look in the description of this video. There is a link to Ben Brainsmasher's very thorough review of this album. He goes into it in much more detail than I can, and I highly recommend you check that out. So that's The Pact, and of course, because they did CD reissues, I picked up the debut, which is Et in Saecula Saeculorum, which I had on tape, and I've kind of thrashed that tape over the last 4 or so years, so happy to get that one on CD. And this one, which I've never heard, actually, I did not hear the middle album, which I think is the same thing that Ben said, he missed the middle album. I think that's right. Stained Glass Revelations, or maybe he missed the first one. Either way, got some catching up to do with Negative Plane. So there you go, that's the 3 I picked up from them. And the new one is The Pact. Go check out Ben's review. Going way back to the 90s now. This one was a nice pickup. Been looking for it for a while for a decent price. Finally came up. This is In Battle with their self-titled debut from 1997. Swedish black metal, really good stuff. Fits in nicely with the sort of second and third Cethereal albums. The early Marduk and Dark Funeral, that kind of thing fits in there. It's really quite savage. Just a hint of Abigor, sort of circa Nachttimen and Opus 4, just a little bit in there, in some of the riffing styles. Anyway, that's what I found. And it's pure coincidence, really, that album came out later, I think. So, you know, it's just what I'm hearing with my ears. Don't take too much out of it, but yeah, it's the Swedish black metal sound, 1997. It kind of tells you everything you need to know. Also, the label it's on might have had something to do with the Abigor's similarities, maybe. I guess that's possible. So yeah, they followed this album in 1998 with The Rage of the Northmen. I actually had that on Digipack. I would have got it in 99 or 2000. Clearly it didn't survive a cull of some description. Must have, I don't know, got caught up in a purge, but I don't have it, so I need to get it up again. Here's the back of it, as you can see here. Napalm Records is the original issue of this CD, and that's, you know, possibly why I'm hearing a little bit of Abigor in there as well. So yeah, I've never had this debut though. This one I'd never even heard. I just sort of got Rage of the Northmen relatively quick after it came out, and never found this one, but now I've got it. This is really good. I'm actually finding it more dynamic than the album that came after it. This one's just got a bit more room to breathe. Drums have a really impressive China coverage when they're not just full blasting. There's a lot of slash, and I like that. You know, just hit all the damn China. It's always fun. So yeah, Napalm Records press, like I mentioned. Nomad Snake Pit did an LP of both of this and the Northmen album in 2021, and then it seems like they've done a reissue again this year. So I guess there's records out there if you want to get them, but I'm really happy to have the CD. The band continued on. They kind of did a turnus and went death metal, and not very good. Then they called it a day. I have no idea what that death metal stuff is really like. I think I listened to it once in 2001 or 2 or something. Clearly didn't make any impact on me. So yeah, anyway, their first 2 albums are really good, and this first one, just called In Battle, definitely stellar. Next up, we're going to go to a country you're going to be hearing a lot about in this update. It just happens, and that is Finland. This is a modern release that came out very recently. A band I hadn't heard of. I saw this album and the EP on, I think it was Iron Bonehead. Just going and checking out some of their new releases, and the cover art, not on this album but on the EP, sort of really piqued my interest, so I listened to it. Stellar stuff. I'll show the album first. This is a new-ish Finnish band called Akolyti, spelled Akolyttii. No idea what it stands for, but yeah, Finnish. There's going to be a lot of hard to pronounce stuff in this update. Please bear with me. I'm an Australian. Get a dog up here. So Akolyti, if you ever wondered what Emperor might have sounded like after In the Night Side Eclipse, if they didn't go as bombastic and didn't double down on the actual brutal heaviness that they did on Anthems, might have sounded like this debut from Akolyti. This is a flawless recreation of 1994. I've been playing this probably about 7 or 8 times so far. It's so good. I've only had it a week, so to smash it for 8 times is pretty high praise, I think. It's this covers. I did say the EP is better. The cover on this is kind of bland. We'll get to that, but anyway, the vocals on this definitely have that same kind of bite that Isan had on Nightside, so that's really pleasing. The riffs, the drums, they follow a similar pattern. It's very Luciferian, so this is highly satanic black metal. The tracks: Belial, Astaroth, Belphegor, Samael, Baal, Lilith, Satan, Lucifer. You know what you're getting, right? You know exactly what you're getting. Now, the second track on here, first track, sorry, Belial, there's an intro and then Belial. There's a bridge in that track. It's unmistakably Emperor, right? They're not trying to say they're not sounding like Emperor. There's a lot of it there. The verse in Astaroth, it's just undeniable. If you like Nightside, you're gonna like this. It's just, the main key difference here, I think, is that the solos, the lead guitar stuff on here is better. It's far more improved. Like, Emperor were young kids when they did that, made good riffs, solos, meh, not so much. But on here, they're going for more of a shred style, so that's a really cool mix to hear. Finnish black metal playing Norwegian black metal with sort of really up there solos. Very, very nice. I very much enjoyed. So yeah, that's the full length. Take a quick look inside. It's all very black and gold. And quickly look at the booklet. There's the band members. I love a good old school frame around a picture. Yeah, there's some stuff about songs. It's like a 4-piece. So yeah, that's the self-titled. Put this one back in here briefly. Oh my god, it's a tight fit. And this is the EP with the far improved cover artwork. It's the one that kind of drew me into it. EP is called Transcendence, the Beast Within. So this is just 2 tracks, a bit of a taster, quite long tracks, sort of 8 minutes long each kind of thing. And it's just as good. Like, it's exactly the same kind of stuff. Very, very strong black metal sounding Norwegian, but from Finland. So yeah, a big fan of this stuff. Members of Morketida, I'm pretty sure that's how you say that name, Morketida. They're another newish band. They're really good. They make up Akolyti, so if you heard that band, then you get a little bit of a continuity there. And yeah, like I said, all the song titles on that album were just names for the devil. Bit different here. We've got Lycanthropia, Hunting in the Shadows, and Nocturnal Blood Ceremony. And there's the back there. Again, doing the very Nightside Eclipse layout there of the band photos. Very cool. Nice big fat pentagram. So anyway, you can work out the lyrical leanings and the musical content from my description, I think, here. So yeah, there's a good chance. I mean, this EP is great, but the album, despite the cover not being as cool, it's likely going to appear in my end of year list. So there you go, Akaliti, awesome Finnish black metal. One of the best black metal albums to come out in 2019 for me was from a band called Ancestral Shadows. The album was called Woven Mysteries of Ancient Lore. There's the cover. Very cool, very purple. And here is the 2021 follow-up EP. This one's called Eldritch Illuminations with a very green cover, which I like very much. This was released on Halloween last year, so it's been out for a little while now. You can get it around. This on the first album, well, not first album, it's actually the second album. On the Purple album, it's very much a US band sounding Finnish, you know, very riffy in that style. But on this one, I'm not so sure. It's a 3-track EP, 2 12, 13-minute long tracks on this one and a bit of an intro. This is more US melodic black metal in sound, so think rooting in something like Stormkeep. That's another good comparison these days, I think. But also lots of depressive black metal sound in this one. It's slower. The songs are more thoughtful and dragged out. They're 12, 13 minutes long each. I'm hearing, it's got like, miscellaneous screams of anguish, like the Canadian band Gris or Gree, however you say that band. There's a lot of that in here. Well, not a lot. There's an amount of that in here as well. I'm not hearing that very Finnish-leaning sound I had from the previous album. It's definitely more US-based. Also, because the tracks are slower, I think there's a bit of Norwegian bass in this one. There's some Burzum. It's sort of in that Hvislaset Taros kind of pace. The bass on this, very similar to Varg's playing. It just has that sort of single note, just backing, very tastefully done. This is interesting. It's a strangely more repetitive and primitive EP than the previous album. That was quite a lively, heavily melodic black metal album. This one's it's a bit more stripped back, just a bit more straightforward, and I guess that's what they were going for on this EP, and it's really, really cool. Not sure if that's where they're going to go in the future. I'm really keen to see, where a band that is equally longer tracks, slowed down, stripped back, but still has keyboards and clean vocals as well, where they can go with an album after this. So will they go back to where they were, continue this, something new entirely? I'm not too sure. But very cool. Ancestral Shadows, Eldritch Illuminations. Very curious to see what comes next. The next album is really, really something special. It's the new one from Blut aus Nord. Hold it the right way up, would be useful. This is Disharmonium, Undreamable Abysses. Awesome cover artwork on this one. From the opening disjointed riffs on the first track, Chants of the Deep Ones. This album is clearly a return to the darker, more oppressive Blut aus Nord that we're kind of used to over the years. 2019's Hallucinogen was almost a happy, positive sounding release. Disharmonium is the internal screams of a mental patient, strapped in his straitjacket, locked in a dungeon, flickering overhead halogen lights, just breaking his capacity for rational thought. And this mental patient is possessed by a demon. That is Disharmonium. This is a unsettling listen. Very, very good one, but I think that short reprieve of the dark and strange Blut aus Nord has given the band some room to, I guess, regroup and rethink, and then come back and just go double as hard as before. This is Twisted. Nobody really sounds like Blut aus Nord. I presume if you're watching this, you've at least heard of the band or heard a album. They've done quite a lot in 25 years now. They've been around since the late 90s. The first 2 albums were very straightforward but very good black metal. And then they started, by the 3rd album is when the weirdness started to kick in, and that's what they became known for. He became known for. After the first 2 albums, there was a lot of just one-man band or one man in a session kind of thing. It's clearly one person that's really running the show, but now I think it's 3 people in the band with a real drummer. Real drummer on this and on the previous one, Hallucinogen. That mechanical sounding drums was always part of the sound of Bluetooth Nord for a long period of time. It's what you got used to, particularly on the 777 albums, the three of those. You can't imagine those with real drums. But saying that, the drummer on here, I was listening to it going, man, the drum machine's gotten really good. And it's the real drummer. Didn't realise they actually got a real drummer on the last album on this one, because it's just somebody that knows how to play to the music that's already been designed for the last 15 or 20 years, like the template. So wasn't going off and making crazy drum rolls and things like that. He was playing as if he was the drum machine. I think that is really, really good to do. But anyway, I'm going a bit of a tangent there. If you've not heard them for some reason, this is kind of incomparable, I suppose. Bits of Ruins of Beverast, Deathspell, Omega, there's about all you can really compare Bluetooth Nord's current stuff to. They're French band, that instantly means weird. If you tell me of a French band that's modern in black metal that's not weird, I probably won't believe you. Snarly, also whispered and chanting vocals, just random cries of anguish, but they're way back in the mix. They're just another instrument. They're not like what we're listening to in the background here, where it's clearly on top of everything else. No, it's just in there. The vocals are just in the mix. You often don't realise that they're there. They're just really tastefully blended, I suppose. And like I said, the real drums on here really good. And working with that drum machine sound, that he always had that weird off-kilter, off-beat kind of thing going on, and it's the same on here. Like, you don't always expect the beat. It's not 4/4 beats or anything like that. It's pretty strange, otherworldly, I think, is a good description of everything on this album. The guitars and layers upon layers upon layers of keyboards and synth, it just builds up, and it is just a devilish sounding atmosphere. You play this with the lights off, you might have some kind of problems. There's a review on Metal Archives that actually, I think, described this really well. Hallucinogen played backwards. That's a great summary. If you really dug that last album, went, wow, this Bluetooth Nord, very happy sounding band. Play it backwards, man, and you're going to get disharmonium. That about sums it up for me, I think. So yeah, really nice slipcase edition. Not a band I've jumped in on the LPs on. I started with CDs. I'm going to stay on CDs with them. There you go. Nice thing there. Often too, they're 2 LP, and that's... Man, I'm really getting over 2 LPs. I can't be bothered changing that often. Anyway, doesn't matter. Very, very nice release here. Came out by Debut Morty, and yeah, another likely contender for the end of year list. There's very little to say about an album I'm about to show, so I won't say a great deal about it, because what you see is what you get. This is Thornspawn's second album, Wrath of War. Look at that cover. We will talk about that in a minute. Blitzkrieg Satanic US Black Metal from 2002, out on Osmos Productions. Says everything you need to hear. I mean, that if you tick off all of those items, you know what this sounds like already. This is second, third Marduk album, kind of worship, more brutal backbeat like Thy Infernal, bestial Black Death sound of like Australia's Abominator at the time, raging hatred of a band like Studer out of Norway. This is a solid continuation of the debut 2000 album, which is called Blood of the Holy Taint Thy Steel, which I've talked about a couple of times on here because I bought the CD and then I tripped over a cheap copy of the LP, so now I've got doubles of that. But that's just ferocious, and this continues on with that. It's just a bit more... It's a bit more brutal, I suppose, because it's got, I don't want to say death metal sound, but the production is getting heavier, it's a bit thicker, which works really well. But what works really well on this one, I got to take it out because the case is a little bit scratched. Please enjoy this cover artwork. Please pay special attention to that Photoshop logo. It's an embossed Thornspawn logo with flames. I mean, you can almost see the 4 frames that make up the animated GIF of that fire. Like, it's amazing. Only an early 2000s album would get away with that kind of Photoshopery. Absolutely amazing. If you just want to blast your head off and praise Satan and hold your horns high, Thornspawn's going to do it for you. I don't have much else to say. easy to find for a couple of bucks out on Osmos back in 2002. So yeah, Thornspawn, Wrath of War. On to the last CD now. Take part Hellhammer and part Morbid Angel, wash it in Profanatica, and you get Goat Lord, Reflections of the Solstice. Very early extreme metal band from the US, formed in about 1985. Demo came out in 1987. Very early days. And the material on this one here, Reflection of the Solstice, super primitive. Just overall extreme metal. Death metal, black metal, doom metal, bit of thrash metal. It's all in here. Sloppy guitars, sloppier drums. The drum sound. Okay, so especially with the raspy reverb vocals on top of this, the whole thing, it kind of reminds me of like a Black Doom version of Blessed Are the Sick, which came out, I think, the same year. The drums have got that, I don't know how to describe it. It's, I mean, if you know Blessed Are the Sick, and you know that weird drum sound, it's like boom, 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 boom. Like, it's really, it kind of sounds drum machiney, but not one that you've heard before. It's just a weird production. It's exactly the same on this Goat Lord. Exactly the same. Even the vocals kind of mixed in there with Dave Vincent when he's doing his more raspy kind of thing. There's a lot of that in here. It's largely, the album is largely devoid of melody. So, yeah, except for the solos, which very Trey Azagthoth. So, I think I might be. I don't know if I'm overstating or understating the Morbid Angel influence on here, but it's a black, doomier, sloppier Blessed Are the Sick. Kind of is Goat Lord, Reflections of the Solstice. It's been considered cult for a very long time. It had a reissue with a different, more cult logo, a bit more of a, blasphemy kind of red, black, white album cover. And I had that reissue, 10 or 15 years ago, whenever that came out. And at the time, no interest. I listened to it and went, wow, this cult band's really crap, and traded it on. My ears had to get used to this sound. Maybe this was a big deal when it came out, I don't know. It's definitely considered a bit of a cult now, looking back. And I can certainly appreciate it now. And I do prefer this artwork here that's a bit more like, the second Blasphemy album. I kind of prefer that horses and chariot mountain kind of thing than the sketchy sort of red, white and black thing they did in the reissue. But anyway, it's cool. This is good stuff. It's just immature, I guess. It's an immature album, I think. And the band did a follow-up in 1992, which I've not heard. I'd like to check it out. Has a bit more of a polished looking cover and that kind of thing. And a better looking logo. But other than that, this band just did demos and compilations of demos, and then that's all she wrote. There's a bit of controversy with the guitarist that I'll leave you to go and read up on Metal Archives yourself. Let's just say that he is no longer around. But this album itself is kind of really scratching the itch for me these days. That primitive, immature sloppiness. Some days it's just what I dig. Some days I want technicality and precision. Some days I want something like this. And lately, this Goat Lord's been really doing it for me. So there you go. Goat Lord came out. This is the original press out on Turbo Music. Not that hard to find this version, but there is multiple ways of getting this now. LPs, CD reissues. The band photo, my god. Look at that band photo. Like, this looks like security camera footage of your front door when the painters that you didn't ask for have shown up to paint your front porch. That's that band photo. Look at old mate there in his overalls and his backwards hat. Yeah, we're here to paint the front porch. I didn't ask for that. We're here to paint the front porch. Okay. Anyway, there you go. Goat Lord, Reflections of the Solstice. Really good fun. Onto the LPs now, onto the vinyl. The first one I'm going to talk very briefly about. This one was definitely something I wasn't looking for, but it came up cheap and it gave me the instant nostalgia hit. So I picked it up. It's in perfect condition. It's actually kind of hard to get this first press, so it was available locally. Why not? It sounds great. It's still fun. Dark Funeral, Verbiscum Satanas. This came out in 1998. Was easily one of the first 3 black metal CDs I ever bought. I've played it a million times over the years. So sure, like, the band has just been playing the same album for 25 years since this thing came out. They're a little bit of a meme band almost. That whole term Norsecore can be applied to this band. Like, you know what you get with that term, even though they're from Sweden. Seeing them live was incredibly boring. They don't have any stage presence at all. But when this came out, this was just smashing my eardrums. Absolutely just ravenous. So good. Cold, fast, Swedish black metal. Vobiscum Satanas. Thy Legions Come. Riff in that, so good. The opening one, Ravenna Strigai Morti. This whole thing is really good. Like, it's just a fun, which is a strange thing to say when you're looking at something like this. What fun we're having with this band, Dark Funeral. It's not, it is though. It is, for me, it's a nostalgic black metal hit to the face, and I was quite happy to pick this up. It's the original, No Fashion, House of Kicks, Gatefold. I got it for 40 Australian, which is about a third of what it seems to go for. There's many reissues. If this was just a back on black or something, I would have left it where it was. But the fact is, it was there, and just a black LP. Lyrics. I really didn't need this. I mean, this is from the late 90s when, it's not like vinyl reproduction was top of its game or anything, but it sounds great. It sounds the same as the CD, to be honest. So there you go. Vobiscum Satanas, Dark Funeral. It's still fun. Fast forward to modern times, we're onto some actual Norwegian black metal here. This is really good. I don't think it's getting talked about enough. This is Vågfang Skammenstein. Stein und Stein. Actual Norwegian black metal. Look at that cover. Absolutely fantastic. One-man band. It's his only release out this year. So yeah, it's only been a couple of months, I think. Skammenstein is kind of a best of everything you love about straightforward black metal. It's got blistering trem riffs, alternating blasting, and then foot stomping drums. I love a bit of that in my black metal, and it's got plenty of that in here. It's really good. Snarly banshee vocals. The songs are centered around like 2 or 3 main riffs. Are you building a picture here of what this band sounds like? It's wrapped up in this sort of monochrome cover with a real cult logo. Like, you can see the 6s in it, inverted crosses. Like, yes, old Dark Throne, old Gorgoroth. That's what you're getting here. Albums from 1994 that looked like this. That's what Vågfang sounds like. And it's just fantastic. I've played this quite a few times since I picked it up. I think it's largely being slept on too, so yeah, definitely recommend it for you. One man, what's his name? Gezak Schreigik. There's too many, there's like 3 G's and a Z in that. I have no idea. That's old mate there. There's the tracks. It's out on Altair, and it is a, just a simple black LP. Take a quick look. Nothing too exciting. Black LP, and get a postery thing. Let's unfold the poster of Vågfang. Imagine it's just the cover. I haven't actually looked at it myself. Oh, there you go. That's actually quite cool. The logo's been filled in a bit on that one. I don't mind that. And you look at it. I mean, like, the whole thing just says Transylvanian Hunger, right? Look at it. You know what this sounds like. You already can hear it in your head. And with that in mind, I suggest you go buy it, because, if you like black metal, you like Norway, you're going to like this one. It's just nice, it's just tasteful, it's just raw, it's just black metal. And that's how I'm going to sum it up. It's just black metal. Vågfang Skammenstein. Continuing in the theme of album titles that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, there'll be quite a few of them. This one is Ildskaya with Den Raidsomant. Oh, for God's sake. It's there, right? Den Radomst Nat. Den Radomst Nat. Welcome to Simon Explosive Actions trying to pronounce things. That's what this video is. But anyway, put that all aside. Ildskaya. Really, really good. Opening briefly has a sort of church organ over a storm kind of thing, black metal. And then it rumbles into the first riff, the thundercloud passing over straight into that first riff. A bit like what just happened then, actually, in the background. They set the tone right off the back here with that. They play a very speedy but triumphant sounding black metal, 2-piece out of Denmark. The riffs have a touch of the pagan about them, just a touch. Possibly brought out by the lyrical themes, which are apparently of Danish conflict throughout history. Not that I can understand 19th century Danish tongue, which this is all written and sung in. So I have to take that on face value. But it's got quite a clean and crisp sound for this kind of black metal, I think. It's not intentionally lo-fi or anything like that. It's just nicely done, well organically produced, has a warm, natural sound, you know what I mean? Reminds me of the first couple of Take albums, with a touch of old Camphor, that kind of thing. No dissonance in this black metal. It's just good black metal, a little bit of pagan in it, and yeah, it's good. 2020 album out on Wolfspell Records. There you go. Very, very nice presentation too. I really like that painting there on the front. Take a quick look inside, and we get I think it's just the LP out on black. And was there an inner thingy buried in there? No, it doesn't look like there is. No, there is. There is a booklet. It's fallen to the bottom. I gotta go digging for the booklet. Right. There is the booklet, which is very nice. Take a look in there. Hard cover there. And I said it's all in a language that I cannot read, but very, very nice. Very nice presentation. I will definitely give them that. You've dug out like an 1860s photo album or something with this. So yeah, there you go. Not sure if I've done it justice, I think, but anyway, Ild Skaya Den Redomste Nat. Whatever. It's good stuff. Next up, we've got some solo Swedish black metal, a one and done, at least so far anyway. This came out in 2020. This is a band called... I'm going to call it Naishin. I think Naishin makes sense to me. And the album, deep breath, I Skagonas Morka, or E Skuganas Morka. Whatever. Black metal, all these names. However, the anonymous artist behind this record put this out in 2007. Well, I recorded in 2007. This is the first time it came out, just a couple of years ago. So I guess they've been sort of sitting on it. Maybe he didn't want to release it. Very, as I said, anonymous. There's not much known about, at least there's not much being said about who was behind the band. Obviously, the person that put out this record knows who was behind the band. But anyway, this is largely sort of Under a Funeral Moon meets Det Som En Gang Bar. I mean, it's standard black metal stuff here. Piercing sound to that tremolo picking. It's always up the high end. Just razor, like glass shattering. Awesome. At least on my stereo, it sounds really, really good. The treble's been turned way up. The drums and bass are quite basic, but they do carry the verse chorus structures really well. Vocals, very greasy bridge troll vocalist. It's just murky and gurgly and raspy and yeah, bridge troll. Really, really, really good. It's raw, repetitive, mid-paced ugliness. That's Naishin. It's almost mesmerizing in its simplicity, just like those sort of aforementioned bands. Like, you're Under a Funeral Moon, your Det Som En Gang Bar, you can put on and you don't rock out so much to it, particularly that Burzum. You can sort of just go away with it. You can do that with Naishin here. All the songs end like a live recording with the guitars just ringing out and then amplifier static. Like an Ulva Nathan's Madrigal or something along those lines. That's another good comparison. E Skugamas Morka, great album, but it's hard to describe in a way that doesn't just make you think of 1,000 other Dark Throne Burzum bands, really. And I guess it is another one of those, but it's still a great assemblage of some nasty, cold riffs, and that's what we're all here for, right? Definitely worth picking up for the hardened black metal fan. Released by Amor Fati. There's Mr. Anonymous. Not sure if it's got any amounts on here. No, I think it's still available. I'm pretty sure you can still get it. So there you go. There's the track list. There's the Mr. Anonymous, and nothing much in there, just black LP, so we won't show that. But there you go. Naishin with I Skugamas Morka. Definitely worth checking out. Alright, let's liven it up a bit here. This blackened speed metal album. This is Sphinx with Deathstroke. Love that cover artwork. We'll get to that in a minute. So good. This band, didn't know who they were. This is just another going through Iron Bonehead going, that cover looks amazing, give it a sample. I'm buying it, fantastic. This band, this is their debut album. They had 6 demos and 4 live albums before this, in the space of a handful of years. Ridiculous, but like all of that playing has paid off, because these, and they're pretty young kids. There's the band there, pretty like they've got to be early, they've got to be 20s. This is young stuff. It's got to be absolutely ripping black and speed metal. My God, you can hear Obsessed by Cruelty just running through the veins of these guys. It is just pouring out. So good, and just it is as fast as you can get without blast beats. Absolutely, right? Fans of Death Hammer, Witch's Hammer, you feel right at home with the Sphinx Hammer. They should call themselves Sphinx Hammer. Everything on this screams like Nuclear War Now or Hell's Headbangers, but no. This came out on a label called Diabolic Night, who I've not actually heard of. At least I don't think I've heard of them. The energy in this is just so good. I had so much fun listening to this. Like, look at it. Battle jackets covered every single inch in patches. There's no area left there to put a pack except for on the guy's forehead. Like bullet belts, they're each holding a long neck of beard. They've all got mullets. You know what it sounds like. It's so good. Deathstroke. It's just breakneck speed. No song is slow, and as I said, there's never a blast beat. It is fast as you're gonna get without just blasting. It's super good black and speed metal. The last song on side A is actually called Deadly Speed. The names of the guys here, we've got Terrorizer, Bonebreaker, and Aggressor. Like, it's total Sodom worship, but faster. Just faster. Deadly Speed of Sphinx. That track opens with a just super fast shredding bass guitar. That's all it is. It's just super fast shredding bass guitar, and then it kicks in with the main riff, and it is just insanely fast. Fast, speed. That's what you get with this one. And it's they know how to play. Like, and it's fairly muddy recording. Like, it's, if they've done that many demos and live albums, they could have made this a cleaner thing, but they clearly didn't want to. This sounds exactly like it's meant to. Very organic, very live in the studio recording. Just hit record, drink, take the last scull of your beer, and smash out Deadly Speed. Sphinx, Deathstroke, and this cover art. Like I said, I loved it. It is credited to Velio Joester. I think it's fantastic. Really good. Giant skeleton, bombers over a city. So much fun. So raise your beer to these German lads. Get in there with them. Get up the front of the barrier. Horns up, headbang, windmills, Deathstroke. The next one I was after for a couple of years since it came out. I found it quite hard to pick a copy up, but I finally did get one, and it's another band that's going to slaughter me with their album title. But this is Faustian packed with Altogen Tornian Varjoiser. That was the most Australian way of saying Varjoiser I could possibly do. I have absolutely no European tongue in me. Nothing whatsoever. Fantasy themed black metal out of Finland. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of Finland. But yes, fantasy themed. Musically, Obtained Enslavement, Wrath of the Tyrant, Emperor, Covenant in Times Before the Light, lots of that. And label mates, Vargrav, modern guys. So all that kind of thing. It's just drenched in medievalness, particularly the keyboards. Very, harpsichord kind of thing going on there. Very nice stuff. Geez, I'm making it sound lively. The keyboards and guitars are kind of all at the same level in the mix. It's one of those ones where it's just a big atmosphere of black metal all at once. The drums, very much appreciate it. It's nice light and snappy sounds, so they can really just get the speed. Really good stuff. Also love this cover artwork. Not sure who did this. Looks like the guy that might have done the Temple Nightside recent album. It's possible. Very similar. Could be wrong. It's got lots of flourish in there, like little short piano pieces, not keyboard but actual piano. Some acoustic guitars, spoken male word passages. A lot of the songs have some sort of female backing vocals, but not just backing behind the male vocals. That they get whole phrases of just the female vocals, and she's very good. I looked her up. I've forgotten her name, but she'd only done a few little things, and she's in a traditional Finnish heavy metal band as the lead singer. I'll put the name there if I remember, hopefully. But yeah, really good. And I love the Scandinavian curled R's, which I can't do. I cannot do that. From the lead vocalist, when he's doing his snarls, he's got all the curled R. I'm sorry. Yeah, but not that I can understand a word of it. It's in Finnish. There's English translations on Metal Archives, which does help, fill in that it's a fantasy themed. It's for fans of kings and castles and boggy swamps and magic horses. Like, that's Faustian Pact. All the songs have a really good identity. Like, it doesn't really run together. There's the band. Look at it. Of course, you know what you're getting there. Swords, cloaks, fantasy, but black metal. Great gatefold, pentagrams. There they are on the back. Look, I mean, old mate's got his little hat there. So good. It must be so much fun doing these photo shoots. And again, in the little night side eclipse portraits, always appreciative. So yeah, this is really, really good. Really, really good stuff. Faustian Pact. That's it. That's what they are. That's what they sound like. Take a quick look at the inside. We've got a few things in here which I'll never get back in, so I will tell myself not to re-sleeve. LP is not black. It is a grey marble with sort of like an orange border. It's nice. Mixes in with the cover well. We get a poster, which... Oh, look, I'm feeling like being a poster guy today. Let's take a look. It is large poster. Woo! There you go, poster. Now, I must try and refold poster. That'd actually be a nice one on the wall, but I have no space for that. And little lyrics, A3, A4, one side. There you go. Faustian Pact, fantasy themed black metal. Autogen Tornian Varjoisa. Good stuff. The next album is brand new and not a band that I realised who they were. I had no idea who this band was. It came up for sale on local distro Impure Sounds, and people were going ravenous for it, like, holy shit, that's the best thing since sliced bread. So I thought I better check it out, jump on the hype train. Very thankful that I did. I don't know if there is much more hype than just what was being said on a tiny little message forum, but geez, I'm glad I checked this one out. This is phenomenal stuff. Theriomorph, Diabolical Blood Swords. God damn, look at that cover. Uncompromising, this stuff, absolutely, and it's really quite unique black metal. At its base, sort of Diabolical Blood Swords is kind of rooted in Demistress, Wolf's Lair, Abyss, Mayhem, Shadow Thrones, Satyricon, Abigail, around sort of Quintessence era, like sort of around all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot more going on here, folks. This is a dark, twisted spiritual successor of a band called Corniger, Cornigr, which is a former one-man band from the same artist that's behind Theriomorph, out of, you guessed it, Finland. Winland, man, they just don't get it wrong. It is superb. This is a superb album. It's inventive, rich, very rich feeling black metal that honors the old guard but expands upon it without experimenting. Like, it's just an evolution of old guard black metal in a Finnish way, and it's very, very well done. Fantastic core melodies from the guitars. They're savage guitars. You can tell from the recording of the drums, the drum sound on this, you can tell this is one that Fenris would go, this is how you'll make a drum sound. You know that's what he would say. He's a big fan of his drums. You know he would approve of this. Absolutely, I can guarantee it. There's some really, what I really picked on this one, there's some really brilliant additional percussion. So when the drummer's doing his thing, I'm not sure if it's another guy or if it's just another overdub, because it is one-man band, so I don't really know what's going on, but there's extra drums, like the drummer's got a third arm, or there's some, just some extra percussion going on there that really makes it more lively. Very, very, very cool. I wish more bands would do that kind of thing. Adding in fills that would be otherwise impossible to do on the toms while keeping a regular beat, On the occasion that the music slows down to sort of half or even quarter speed, that extra percussion is very much noticeable. And like I said, it's really, really good. I really loved hearing it. So here's the back. The opening track on side B, Nocturne, Order of the Uninvited, under the Uninvited, this bloody cursive fonts. That's an absolute cacophony. Absolute cacophony. Like the tastiest, most menacing guitar riff that I've heard in a while on that track, with the bass that's perfectly blended in. That track ends with layers and layers of just people laughing under a marching beat. It's pretty sinister stuff. Yeah. Oh my god, this is so good. The last track on here, Megalith in Hanging Garden Reprise. I think it's that one, unless that's a outro and it's Reflecting Skull. I don't actually know. But the last track on the LP, it ends in like a dark cello violin trade-off with some sort of alien vocals over the top. It's pretty haunting. It's a very haunting sounding album. Really is. Sinister and haunting black metal. I won't be surprised, but I'll be somewhat annoyed if I'm the only one that puts this on the end of year list. I get the feeling it might go under the radar, but I guess that's my job here, is to say Theriomorph, Diabolical Blood Swords. Check it out. If you like your black metal a bit more involved, this is some supremely good stuff. Lovely gatefold. Take a look inside, and it's a black LP. Not sure if there's any variation on that. And it came out on Territor Possessions. So there you go. Theriomorph, Diabolical Blood Swords. Fantastic album. I did say there's a lot of Finland in this update. I'm not going to change it with this one. This is another new band, new for me anyway. Chamber of Unlight, Realm of the Night. This is really, really good. A real good slab of Finnish black metal from that very productive country, it seems. It sounds a little bit more Norwegian though in how they pull off. It's kind of early Dimmerborg gear. And don't be scared by that. I know they're a bit of a sour name these days, but go back in time. Think about where you were in 1997. There is some good stuff there. There is some Stormblast, Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. There's even a bit of the sort of Godless Savage Garden EP. It's just a bit of that chug in this as well. But all of that with a bit more of the speed of Emperor. Chamber of Unlight. Very seasoned musicians making up this band. They're across bands like Agitara, Death Chain, Horner, of course, because Finland, everybody seems to be in Horner. And yeah, the vocalist on this, he does a really, really good Shagrath impression. That's really what gives you that Dimmerborgir vibe. So, it's growled and rasped with a real deep intensity that, it's just deeper in the vocal range. Production on this is very, very nice. Very good quality, but not overproduced or anything like that. It's exactly how it should sound. Just think Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. Just think that, but faster. And I think that's where this band is with this album anyway. Monstrous drum performance. So good. He's absolutely hammering this thing. Very, very energetic drum performance. Lots of little triplets with the kicks. Love hearing that. Always good fun. Very riffy guitars. Lots of atmosphere. Overall supported by the synths. It makes it a very satisfying listen. This is a satisfying album to listen to. Take a quick look inside. We get another black LP, and behold, it appears to be another poster. And there you go, with their other logo as appearing on the back of the album. And this is just satanic stuff, just evil. There's necrosis, and there's the lyrics. So yeah, awesome. Chamber of Unlight, Realm of the Night. It's got that cleaner production of a modern album, but it's pure late 90s in its approach. So there you go. If you like those bands that I mentioned, if you like the earlier Dimmerborgir sound and you just want to hear it less cheesy, Realm of the Night, Chamber of Unlight. This next one is a weird one I'm going to have trouble describing, I think, because it is just so unique. Very occult black metal based in American folklore. This is Doldrum, The Knocking, or The Story of the Sound That Preceded Their Disappearance. A very, very full album title there. This is featuring members of a relatively new band I've shown on here before called Gallows. That's a more straightforward, just ravaging black metal attack. This is chalk and cheese here. This goes from thick, heavy rock grooves to D-beat to just onslaught black metal, all in the same song. There's moments that make me think of Satyricon, more modern sound, or Take, but sometimes a bit of primordial, later primordial, but progressive enslaved sound. It's kind of a mix of things here, but very unique. Really, it stays in the weirder territories of bands like Lugubrum, or to the edge, bands like Virus. That's where Doldrum is. They're all over the map, and just being a very unique, progressive take on black metal. The whole album feels very cinematic, like it's telling a 5-story song. There's the 5 tracks there on the back. But it's still built around regular song structures that make it quite easy to digest. Very easy to digest, this one. You might nearly be able to get some normies into this. Not too sure, but look, you could give it a go. There's enough basis in recognizable rock music, I think, that you could get a few extra people to check it out. But that's not to say that this is some kind of black and roll band. It is the absolute opposite. It is not. This is black metal that just has a very good, solid structure, good meat and potatoes in there, as well as all of the 17 sauces they're dripping over that steak. I'm hungry again. So very hard for me to really explain, I think. Anyway, we'll just continue on. The side B opener, that's what I wanted to talk about. The side B opener, The Abduction. So all of these tracks, The Knocking, The Visitor, The Abduction, The Offering, The Disappearance, in italics. The Abduction. All right, that's got it starts with a real crowd-pleasing sort of head-banging beat. I think that would be ridiculously good to see live. But also it has some of the weirdest elements on any of the songs. Like, it's got blast beats over acoustic guitars. That's an always strange thing to hear. And it's got sounds of like somebody walking in a cave. Lots of just weirdness, little flourishes and things. Such a good album. The lyrics, I think, are definitely worth talking about. I'll just give some highlights. The third track, The Abduction. Okay, so here's some lyrics. Fly with speed 'neath eaves, shadow flecked spinning round, booze and fear, nasty fellows, vomit spills from every mouth. Or from the last 10-minute long track, The Disappearance, this is good. Lie down, my sons, of rock and rot. I'll whisper in your ears a slumber song of monstrous space, of caverns draped in fear. Here darkness drowns the minds, my sons, darkness, dust, and damp. Down in the seam amidst bad dreams, without bird or lamp. Pretty good stuff. Clearly going mining. This is just fun, just a phenomenal album. The final track is my favorite, and I get lost listening to it because the lyrics stop, and then it's just instrumental, and I kind of didn't even realize that it had gone instrumental. I was just away with the fairies, really enjoying it. Very explorative musical journey on that last song. I could see Doldrum in a couple of albums kind of discarding all black metal and just doing like Emptiness did. I hope they don't. I think there's a lot more to explore with this band before they do anything like that, but I could see that happening. It's that kind of stuff. It's out on a label called Catafalque, which I'm getting the impression might just be the band's label, same label that put out the Gallows album. So, speaking of the band members, I love their names here. So, Witness, Jimmy Oh My Back, Rat DeVoe, and the terrific Don McKinnon. How much fun is that? That is so good. Production on this is absolutely immense. Perfect production for this kind of music. It's up there with bigger name bands for sure. There's the band around their skulls. There's the lyrics. So I don't really think I've done this too much justice talking about a Black LP, nothing exciting. But I really encourage you, if you're going to listen to anything that I've talked about today, jump in the description, find this link to Doldrum, and give a listen to the track that I put there, because it is fantastic. It will definitely appear on my top 10 list at the end of the year, and hopefully it does for other people's as well. On the home stretch now, I'm going to show 2 albums that pair together from the same band. This Swiss band only recently came onto my radar when I saw them listed on local distro Seance Records when she did an update. The covers looked interesting to me, so I gave them a listen. I was really, really happy I did, because this is some phenomenal modern black metal. This is a band called Aara, A-A-R-A. Been around a couple of years, quite busy in a short time. They did 4 full lengths and an EP since 2019. Very, very productive. This is their latest. They're doing a trilogy, right? They're doing a trilogy. It's based on the concepts of a 19th century novel called Melmoth the Wanderer. This one is the trilogy is called Triade. This one is called Eos, and this is the latest one that's just come out. This one is called Hemera, and obviously at some point there'll be a third album, I guess maybe next year or the year after. So both of them have musical qualities that are very similar, so I can discuss them at once. Obviously he's doing a trilogy, they're doing a trilogy, so similar thoughts and phrasings here in how the music's done. I did read an interview with the guy that said that each album, this one being the first, this the second, and then there's the third, will get darker. And I think you can hear that. It does get darker as it goes on, so the third one should be really quite dark. It's atmospheric kind of black metal, similar to fellow countrymen Tardigrada, so if you like them, lots to like here. If you like bands like Fortress, or the sadly defunct US band False from their album Portent, I think Aara is in that kind of realm. Definitely really good. But the high-pitched shrieking vocals of Hecate Enthroned, or Hecate Enthroned, or just good old Danny Filth, right, from the Dusk in Her Embrace era, when he was just right up there and shattering windows with his screams. But in this case, it is a woman that is making these vocals, and God, she hits those notes. They're right up there, just shrieking. This is an epic, mighty riff salad with punishing, alternating blasting drums, double kick fire. So much fun. I love double kick fire. It's bathed in a warm and lush production, which is very, very pleasing and appropriate for the music here. Lyrics about destruction of humanity, but you can practically feel the sunlight coming through the window on some of this, which is a really odd feeling. But it is a warm sounding production, and the lyrics are not so much. Though unfortunately they're Swiss, so lyrics are in Swiss German, and I have no idea what's being said. There is some translations though, you can read a little bit about it, and it does come from that 19th century novel, so it's not going to be all princesses and fairies. It's fairly dark stuff. The best track for me actually came on side A of this second album here, the closer on this one, called Son de Nacht. Okay, so at a point in this song, it builds up with some sort of uncredited but wild Indian female vocals, like chanting kind of in the Indian musical, what I'm talking about, like that kind of traditional sound. And then it just drops out all instruments except for this fast trem riff, repeated, then crashes in with a big floor tom, and then it's just windmill central, and they do that like 3 times. It is so immensely satisfying. You feel the build up, and then it's just bang. So good. I love that. Absolutely love that. As I said, they must have loved it. They did it 2 more times as well. Just chaotic blasts following this big floor tom. So good. I'm loving the infinitely musical albums that these guys are putting out. It is just so much going on. I want to go back and hear the previous album, and I'm really eagerly awaiting the final act of this trilogy. So there you go, man. That's Aara with the Triade Part 1, which is Eos, and Part 2, which is Hemera, and they're both out on what's this label? Debut Morti again. So there you go. Take a quick look inside this one. There's the lyric sheet thing too. You're on coloured vinyl, but I chose black because it was slightly cheaper, and why not? So there you go, black vinyl. And I'm having trouble re-sleeving, so I shan't. There you go. Aara with Triade Parts 1 and 2. Like I said, looking forward to Part 3. That was a black metal update, and I'm finally there. Hope you enjoyed watching this one and stayed there with me with the CDs and the LPs. Lots of good stuff in this update. A lot of stuff from Finland. If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, check out that thing, check out that thing. I'll see you next time.